Good morning to everyone. Today's class formation and essential elements of contract. Next one types of contract and types of agreements. First we'll see formation essential elements of contract. According to section 10, all agreements or contracts, if they are made with the free consent of parties competent to contract for a lawful consideration and with a lawful object and are not expressly declared to be void. In order to become a contract, an agreement must have the following elements. First one, offer and acceptance. Let's see what is offer and acceptance. There must be two parties to an agreement, that is, one party making the offer and other party accepting it. Understand, girls? There must be two parties to an agreement, that is, one party making the offer and other party accepting it. The term of the offer must be definite and the acceptance of the offer must be absolute and unconditional. The acceptance must also be according to the mode prescribed and must be communicated to the offerer. This is a offer and acceptance. Next we'll see intention to create legal relationship. When the two parties enter into an agreement, their intention must be to create legal relationship between them. ஸோ அவங்க ரெண்டு பேருக்குள்ளே என்ன இருக்கணும், லீகலி ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் இருக்கும். ஓகேவா? அந்த அக்ரிமெண்ட் வந்து என்ன லீகலாக அக்ரிமெண்ட்ஸ் போட்டிருக்காங்க. ஸோ இந்த டீட்டெயில்ஸ்லாம் என்ன அந்த டீட்டெயில்ஸ் ஆஸ் வெல் அஸ் அவங்களுடைய ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்குள்ளே என்ன பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க, ஃபாலோ பண்ணிகிட்ருப்பாங்க. இஃப் தேர் இஸ் நோ சச் இன்டென்ஷன் on the part of the parties, there is no contract between them. Understand, girls? If there is no such intention on the part of the parties, there is no contract between them. அவங்களுக்குள்ள எந்த கான்ட்ராக்டும் இருக்காது. Agreements of a social or domestic nature do not contemplate legal relationship. As such, they are not contract. For example, a husband promised to pay his wife a household allowance of 30 every month. Later the parties separated and the husband failed to pay the amount. The wife sued for the allowance, held agreements such as these were outside the real of contract altogether. This is one of the main example. Next, in commercial and business agreements, the presumption is usually that the parties intended to create legal relationship, but this presumption is rebutable, which means that it must be shown that the parties did not intend to be legally bound. For example, there was an agreement between our company and C company by means of which the former was appointed as the agent of the latter. One clause in the agreement was, this agreement is not entered into as a formal or legal agreement and shall not be subject to legal jurisdiction in the law courts. Held there was no binding contract as there was no intention to create legal relationship. This is the important one, in agreement, a document contained a condition. Let's see what is the condition. That it shall not be attended by or give rise to any legal relationship, rights, duties, consequences whatsoever, or be legally enforceable or be the subject of litigation, but all such arrangements, agreements and in transaction are binding in honor only. Next, lawful consideration. That means an agreement to be enforceable by law must be supported by consideration. The consideration means an advantage or benefit moving from one party to the other party. It is the essence of a bargain. In simple words, it means something in return. The agreement is legally enforceable only when both the parties give something and get something in return. A promise to do something, getting nothing in return, is usually not enforceable by law. Consideration need not necessarily be in cash or kind. It may be an act or abstentions or promise to do or not to do something. It may be past, present or future also, but it must be real and lawful. Section 2 subsection D 23 and 25. Next we'll see capacity of parties, competency. The parties to the agreement must be capable of entering into a valid contract. Every person is competent to contract if he is of the age of majority, is of sound mind, and third one is not disqualified from contracting by any law to which he is subject. Section 11 and 12. Flaw in capacity to contract may arise from minority, lunacy, idiocy, drunkenness, etc. And status. If a party suffers from any flaw in capacity, the agreement is not enforceable except in something special cases. Next we'll see free and genuine consent. Fifth one, free and genuine consent. It is essential to the creation of every contract that there must be free and genuine consent of the parties to the agreement. The consent of the parties is said to be free when they are of the same mind on all the material terms of the contract. The parties are said to be of the same mind when they agree about the subject matter of the contract. In the same sense and at the same time, section 13, there is absence of free consent if the agreement is induced by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, etc. Section 14. See, section is very important, so note down the section also. Sixth one, lawful object. The object of the agreement must be lawful. In other words, it means that the object must not be illegal, immoral or opposed to public policy. Section 23. If an agreement suffers from any legal flaw, it would not be enforceable by law. Next one, seventh, agreement not declared void. The agreement must not have been expressly declared void by law in force in the country, section 24 to 30 and section 56. Eighth one, certainty and possibility of performance. The agreement must be certain and not vague or indefinite, section 29. If it is vague and it is not possible to ascertain its meaning, it cannot be enforced. For example, A agrees to sell to B 100 tons of oil. There is nothing whatever to show what kind of oil was intended. The agreement is void for uncertainty. Next example. O agreed to purchase a motor van from S on hire purchase terms. The hire purchase price was to be paid over 2 years. How many years? 2 years. Held there was no contract as the terms were not certain about rate of interest and mode of payment. No precise meaning could be attributed to the words on hire purchase, since there was a wide variety of hire purchase term. 1941-25. Next one, legal formalities. A contract may be made by words spoken or written. அது வந்து வேர்டாகவும் இருக்கலாம், ஸ்போக்கனாகவும் இருக்கலாம் அண்ட் ரிட்டனாகவும் இருக்கலாம். As regards the legal effects, there is no difference between a contract in writing and a contract made by word of mouth. Okay. It is, however, in the interest of the parties that the contract should be in writing. There are some other formalities also which have to be complied with in order to make an agreement legally enforceable. In some cases, the document in which the contract is incorporated is to be stamped. In some other cases, a contract besides being a written one has to be registered. Thus, where there is a statutory requirements that a contract should be made in writing or in the presence of witnesses or registered, the required statutory formalities must be complied with. Section 10. So these are all the formation essential elements of the contract. Next we'll see classification of contract. Classification according to validity. First one, classification according to validity. A contract is based on an agreement. An agreement becomes a contract when all the essential elements referred to above are present. In such a case, the contract is a valid contract. If one or more of these elements is or missing, the contract is either voidable, void, illegal or unenforceable. Let's see what is a voidable contract. An agreement which is enforceable by law at the option of one or more of the parties thereto, but not at the option of the other or others, is a voidable contract. Section 2, subsection 1. This happens when the essential elements of free concern in a contract is missing. When the consent of a party to a contract is not free, that is, it is caused by the coercion, undue influence, misrepresentation, or fraud, the contract is voidable at is option. Section 19 and 19A. The party who consent is not free may either rescind, avoid, or repudiate the contract if he so desires or elect to be bound by it. A voidable contract continues to be valid till it is avoided by the party entitled to do so. For example, a promises to sell his car to B for rupees 2000. His consent is obtained by use of force. The contract is voidable at the option of A. He may avoid the contract or elect to be bound by it. A contract becomes voidable in the following two cases. Let's see what are the cases. First one, when a person promises to do something for another person for a consideration, but the other person prevent him from performing his promise, the contract becomes voidable at his option. Section 53. For example, A and B contract that B shall execute certain work for A for rupees 1000. B is ready and willing to execute the work accordingly, but A prevents him from doing so. The contract is voidable at the option of B, and if he elect to rescind it, is entitled to recover from A compensation for any loss which he has incurred by its non-performance. Next case, when a party to a contract promises to perform an obligation within a specified time, any failure on his part to perform his obligation within the fixed time makes the contract voidable at the option of the promisee. Section 55. When a person at whose option a contract is voidable resigns it, the other party thereto need not perform any promise therein contained in, which is promisor, if the party rescinding the contract has received by benefit under the contract from another party to such contract, he shall restore such benefit so far as may be to the person from whom it was received. Section 64. Listen here. To the person from whom it was received. Section 64. The party rightfully rescinding the contract is also entitled to compensation for any damage which he has sustained through the non-fulfillment of the contract. Section 65. Next we'll see void agreement and void contract. First we'll see what is void agreement. An agreement not enforceable by law is said to be void. Section 2, subsection G. A void agreement does not create any legal rights or obligations. It is a nullity and is destitute of legal effects. Altogether, it is void ab initio, that is, from the very beginning, as for example, an agreement with a minor or an agreement without consideration. Next, we'll see void contract. A contract which ceases to be enforceable by law becomes void when it ceases to be enforceable. Section 2 subsection F. A contract when originally entered into may be valid and binding on the parties. Example, a contract to import good from a foreign country, it may subsequently become void. Example, when a war breaks out between the importing country and the exporting country, it is illegal to talk of a void contract originally entered into for what is supposed to be a contract is no contract at all. We may talk of such a contract as a void agreement. Next we'll see illegal agreement. Before we see void agreement, void contracts. Next, illegal agreement. An illegal agreement is one which transgresses some rule of basic public policy or which is criminal in nature or which is immoral. Such an agreement is a nullity and has much wider import than the void contract. All illegal agreements are void, but all void agreements or contracts are not necessarily illegal. An illegal agreement is not only void as between the immediate parties, but as this further effect that even the collateral transactions to it become tainted with illegality. A collateral transaction is one which is subsidiary, incidental or annexal to the principal or original contract. For example, B borrows rupees 5,000 from A. So B வந்து A கிட்ட இருந்து 5,000 வாங்குறாரு and enters into a contract with an airline to import prohibited goods. A knows of the purpose the loan. The transaction between B and A is collateral to the main agreement. It is illegal since the main agreement is illegal. Next, it is the main agreement is void. The collateral transaction to it are not affected in the above cases. If B had entered into a void agreement with a minor, the contract between B and A would not have been affected. Next, unenforceable contract. An unenforceable contract is one which cannot be enforced in a court of law because of the some technical defects such as absence of writing or where the remedy has been barred by lapse of the time. The contract may be carried out by the parties concerned, but in the event of breach or repudiation of such a contract, the aggrieved party will not be entitled to the legal remedies. Next, classification according to formation. Second classification is according to formation. A contract may be made a writing or by word of mouth. Writing ஆக இருக்கலாம் இல்லை வேர்ட்லேயும் இருக்கலாம் through the mouth, or be inferred from the conduct of the parties of the circumstances of the cases. These are the modes of formation of the contract. Contract may be classified according to the mode of their formation as follows. First, we'll see express contract. What is express contract. If the term of a contract are expressly agreed upon, whether by words spoken or written, at the time of formation of the contract is said to be an express contract, where the offer or acceptance of any promise is made in words. The promise is said to be express. Section 9. An express promise results in an express contract. Next we'll see implied contract. An implied contract is one which they inferred from the acts or conduct of the parties or course of the dealings between them. It is not the result of any express promise or promises by the parties, but of their particular acts. It may also result from the continuing course of conducting of the parties, where the proposal or acceptance of any promises is made. Otherwise, then in words, the promise is said to be implied. Section 9. An implied promise results in an implied contract. For example, there is an implied contract with when A one gets into a public bus, or second one takes a cup of tea in a restaurant, and number 3 obtain a ticket from an automatic waiting machine, or lets be luggage to be carried out of the railway station. Next one, a fire broke out in peace form. He called upon the fire brigade to put out the fire, which the latter did. Peace form did not come under the free service zone, although he believed to be so held. He was liable to pay for the service rendered, as the service was rendered on an implied promise to pay. Next is quasi-contract. The meaning of quasi-contracts. Strictly speaking, a quasi-contract is not a contract at all. A contract is intentionally entered into by the parties, two parties or more parties. A quasi-contract, on the other hand, is created by law. It resembles a contract in that a legal obligation is imposed on a party who is required to perform it. It rests on the ground of equity, that a person shall not be allowed to enrich himself unjustly at the expense of another. For example, a tradesman leaves goods at C's house by mistake. C treats goods as his own. C is bound to pay for the goods. Next we'll see e-commerce contract. An e-commerce contract is one which is entered into between two parties via internet. In internet, different individual or companies create a network which are linked to numerous other networks. This expands the area of operation in the commercial transaction for any person. Third classification is according to the performance. See, depends upon the performance having the contract. See, to the extent to which the contract have been performed, these may be classified as number 1, executed contract. See, executed means that which is done. An executed contract is one is which both the parties have performed their respective obligations. For example, A agrees to paint a picture for B, a picture for B rupees 100. When A paints in picture and B pays the price, that is, when both the parties perform their obligation, the contract is said to be executed. In some cases, even though a contract may appear to be completed at once, its efforts may still continue. Thus, when a person buys a bun containing a stone and subsequently breaks one of his teeth, he has a right to recover damages from the seller. Second one, executory contract. First, executed contracts. Next is executory contract. That means that which remains to be carried into effect. An executory contract is one in which both the parties have yet to perform their obligation. Thus, in the above example, the contract is executory if A has not yet painted the picture and B has not paid the price. Similarly, if A agrees to engage B as his servant from the next month, the contract is executory. A contract may sometimes be partly executed and partly executory. Thus, if B has paid the price to A and A has not yet painted the picture, the contract is executed as to B and executory as to A. Another classification, unilateral or one-sided contract. Unilateral or one-sided contract is one in which only one party has to fulfill its obligation at the time of the formation of the contract. This is the unilateral contract or one-sided contract. The other party having fulfilled its obligation at the time of the contract or before the contract comes into existence. Such contracts are also known as the contract with executed consideration. For example, a permits a railway coolie to carry his luggage and place it in a carriage. A contract comes into existence as soon as the luggage is placed in the carriage, but by the time of the coolie has already performed his obligation. Now only A has to fulfill his obligation, that is pay the responsible charges to the coolie. Next, bilateral contract. A bilateral contract is one in which the obligation on the part of both the parties to the contract are outstanding at the time of the formation of the contract. In this sense, bilateral contracts are similar to executory contracts and are also known as contract with executory consideration. Next we'll see agreement types of agreement. Number 1, non-disclosure or confidentiality agreements. The non-disclosure agreements, known also as confidentiality agreements, or contract in which the parties agree not to disclose the secret information they share and not to make unauthorized of such information. Next one, collaborative research and development agreement. See, collaborative research and development agreements are the most comprehensive of the agreement to be negotiated and signed for research and developed project with the industry partners. They should clearly identify the project itself, provide any necessary background information related to the project, and describe the roles and relationship among the project parties, including any contribution by the parties. Next, third one, third one, intellectual property agreements. Intellectual property agreements define and protect the intellectual property of the partners in a research and development project. This is called intellectual property agreements. Fourth one, material transfer agreement. A material transfer agreement document what proprietary information, equipment or materials necessary for the applied research project will be transferred between the parties. This is called material transfer agreement. Last one, service contract. Service contracts, research or technical contracts are contracts with normally external provide for specific research and or technical services related to an applied research and development project. Thank you, girls.